Speakers. We had a little bit of a theme music going on in some of our in week 1, 2, and 3. Do we have some theme music just to roll out before we start with our speeches? Love that energy. Woohoo! Awesome. Every time you hear those tunes, you are going to be thinking of District 11 and Masked Speaker event from here on out. Woohoo! Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. You know, Jeopardy has theme music. Masked Speaker has theme music. Just like that. Thanks for being with us tonight. We will have 3 speakers for week 3 tonight. A little bit different format in terms of how we're going to approach our elimination. So if you have been with us in the last episodes of Masked Speaker, you know that our Masked Speakers present. You take notes on trying to figure out who that could be. And you're also thinking about, wow, which one is my favorite masked speaker? We will still have a poll tonight. You will vote for your favorite masked speaker, and that person will automatically advance to next week. Next week is our grand finale, and all of our speakers will be returning next week. So rather than a true elimination at the very end tonight, we will do an unmasking. You will vote for your favorite speaker. That's the top vote getter. The next 2, we will interview and try to give you some more clues on who they could be. You will be entering your guesses in the chat, and someone will be revealed and unmasked. But all will advance for next week. Tell your friends, gather your family, even people you don't necessarily like for next week, when all of our masked speakers will join us, will give speeches, and we'll find out the mystery behind all of our masked speakers. So be sure to mark down April 22nd. It's going to be great. Tonight, we are ready to get started with some out of this world, stranger than strange experiences and a mystery or 2 along the way. Take your notes, figure out who people are, and decide on who your favorite masked speaker is for tonight. Our first speaker for this evening is absolutely out of this world. Out of this world. Not just out of this district. Maybe, maybe not, but definitely out of this world. The alien. Alien, are you ready to join us in this world?
I am ready.
Ready or not, folks, give it up for Alien. Woohoo! Alien, take it away.
Greetings, Earthlings. I am many thousands of your Earth years old, and I have decided to visit your planet. Originally, we did not visit your solar system because my travel agent's review said your solar system was poor and only gave it 1 star. And they were so right. You just have one sun. Tonight, I am using this clever mustache disguise so I can blend in with Earth people. I came here because I was offered another trip to Earth if I could abduct just 3 aliens. My next trip would be half off. What a great travel agent. So, this is my second trip to Earth, and it is my last. I was here many years ago when we didn't have to wear masks all the time. What is with you, Earth people, wearing all those pesky masks? It could take me years to get over my jet lag because it took me years to get here. Let me tell you about my first trip. It was on July 20th, 1969. I stopped at your moon and I saw people walking on your moon. I hid behind some rocks and I photobombed your astronauts who thought they were the first ones there. Those are the pictures that NASA will not release. Later, some other visitors to the moon left behind a moon buggy, which us aliens like to go three-wheeling on the moon. Yes, I know it has 4 wheels, but one of the wheels is stuck. How else do you think we learned how to make crop circles? We decided to settle on the planet Uranus, or as you pronounce it, Uranus. Uranus is the 7th planet from the sun, and it has 27 moons, so it's always a full moon somewhere. And that gives me an idea of what I can do when I fly by and see the Martians looking up at us. Uranus, full moon, you get it? Neptune is a Uranus is a bad choice of a place to live because Uranus rotates on its side, and all of us there have our own health problems like Earthlings do. Did you know that most everybody on Uranus has asteroids? I hear you have something similar here on Earth. We also have our foot problems too. You have athlete's feet, we have mistletoe. Well, I have to go now. I need to gather some food. We like your termites, but they have a little bit of a woody taste to them. We tried eating some clowns, but they tasted funny. So I will leave you with a little space humor. What do you call a comet wrapped in bacon? That's right, a meteor. Back to you, Madam Host.
Oh my goodness, let's hear it for the alien. That alien is quite the creative one. And definitely, there were some clues in that speech. Absolutely out of this world. Thank you again. Join me in woohoo for the alien. Definitely a punster. Woohoo! I hope you've got all of your clues written down. I hope that you have some guesses about who that might be, because we are ready for our next speaker, speaker number 2 for this evening. Speaker number 2 may look familiar. Speaker number 2 is Arabian Night. Arabian Night, are you ready? Are you with us this evening?
I am.
Wonderful. Welcome. Thank you very much. Arabian Night will be presenting Listening Well. Be sure to listen well as Arabian Night continues with the mystery. Let's give it up for Arabian Night. Woohoo! Take it away.
It was the fall of 2019. My boss calls me in his office and he says, "Hey, I have nominated you for the leadership training program here at our organization. I need you to fill out the application and submit it by October 30th. Wow, my boss sees leadership in me. So I fill out the application, I submit it on time, and 2 months later, I get my letter. Congratulations, you've been accepted. Whoa! Now, this is a huge deal because hundreds of people apply for this program, but only a few are given the opportunity. Our first assignment is to get a mentor. It can be within the organization or outside of the organization. If you know me, I say go high or stay at home. I go straight to the top of the organization and I ask Stanley Huntington, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests, to give you a little bit background on Mr. Huntington. He's an author, a former pastor, a hostage negotiator, and a Toastmasters championship speech contest winner. Oh, I hit the jackpot. Now, mind you, I didn't find this out until our second meeting, because in our first meeting, I talked for 1 hour straight. That's 60 whole minutes nonstop. The man had to extend the meeting 5 extra minutes just so that he could say something. Oh, I must have sounded like the teacher on Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah. When I asked Mr. Huntington if it would be okay if I shared that story with you guys tonight, he said, of course, it's your story too. Although you actually talked for 65 minutes. Yeah, who's listening to him anyway? So anyways, I'm sitting in his office and he says to me, today is Dr. Martin Luther King Day, and I'm going to send you an article about him. We all know Dr. King is a great orator, but this article talks about Dr. King as a great listener. As I was leaving his office, I felt this big. Not that Mr. Huntington had made me feel that way. In fact, he complimented me on all the ways I demonstrated listening in all the stories after stories after stories after stories after stories after stories that I told. Now, I felt this big because two thoughts ran through my mind. The first thought was, I sure hope he doesn't think this is what they taught us in leadership training. Game over, man. And the second thought, I knew that I had blown my chance to be present in a rare and great opportunity to learn. You see, you cannot learn if you will not listen. And if you do not listen, you cannot lead. That sent me on a quest to learn as much as I could about being a good listener. In my search, I ran across an article that told the story of a zoologist that was walking down the street with a friend The street was noisy. There were horns honking, tires screeching, engines running, and the zoologist exclaims, "Wow, listen to that cricket." His friend was astonished. He said, "You mean to tell me that you can hear a cricket in the middle of all of this noise?" Without a word, the zoologist reaches into his pocket, pulls out a coin, flips it in the air, and when it clinks on the sidewalk, a dozen heads turn in response. The zoologist said, "We hear what we listen for." So the question isn't, what wonderful or great thing did you say? The question isn't even, what did you hear? Because it could be that for you, in the middle of this pandemic, there's so much noise and so much drama around you that you really can't hear anything at all. But let me ask you, what are you listening for? Are you listening for the lessons learned from those who are wiser than you? Are you like Scott and Jean and listening for opportunities to come up with creative and inspiring ways to make this Toastmaster experience great in spite of the pandemic noise? Maybe you just needed a relief and you were here tonight just to listen for a laugh. Oh, I get it. You're that Toastmaster that's listening for filler words. Well, surprise, surprise, surprise. We don't have any. We're mass speakers, for goodness sake. They don't just let anybody do this. Oh, but seriously, this amazing Toastmasters program that we have, some might view as just another training class, but I see it as an opportunity, not just to speak, but to be the one who listens for those crickets that everyone else might miss in the middle of all of this noise. So for all that we've been taught to become the leaders that we are, remember, to whom much is given, much is required. That, my fellow Toastmasters, is what we should listen for. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster. Shazam!
Shazam! Let's give it up for Arabian Night. Woohoo! Shazam indeed. Give it up. Let's hear another round for Arabian Night. What did you hear? And who did you hear? And any ah counters in the house? If so, give me a pass now and then, would you please? Great. Oh my goodness. I hope you have some great clues. I hope you're keeping track of your favorites because we are ready to move into our third speaker, week 3. Give it up for not 3-tone, but 2-tone. 2-tone is back in the house. 2-tone, are you here and ready to go?
I am here and we are ready to rock and roll.
Awesome. Great. Let's have some applause. Let's give us some energy. Awesome. I understand that tonight there's not going to be any yawning. There's not going to be anyone nodding off because tonight 2-tone is presenting Boredom Buster. Take it away, Boredom Buster, 2-tone.
That is right. Boredom is not allowed in the speech. And quick shout out to my fellow speakers, Alien and Arabian Night. You guys are awesome. That is some really good stuff. And with that, join me together in saying, everyone on 3. 1, 2, 3. Because that was me. It was exactly 16 minutes and 17 seconds into my family's annual summer vacation. and I was in full relaxation regalia. I had my flip-flops on, baggy pants, ice cold beverage in one hand, cheers, y'all, and an even colder beverage in the other. Double cheers, y'all. And there wasn't a Toastmasters meeting within 100 miles. My family and I, we were sprawled out on a rustic deck overlooking a lake and a rented beach house. And there wasn't anything within 100 miles. It was a wonderful thing. It was in a small town called No Wi-Fi, Wisconsin. Population, 291 townfolk, 6 or 7 cows, and an orphan skunk named Lenny. It was the perfect vacation getaway for my 3 radiant children, my long suffering beautiful wife, and of course, every member of her side of the family. Why do you think I had 2 cold beverages? I looked down at my 6-year-old son, my favorite tax deduction, and said, "Isn't this great?" He looked back at me and he said the 3 most frightening words that I have heard since, "Honey, I'm pregnant." He said, "Daddy, I'm bored." Now, man, Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and again, my fellow speakers, you know in the movie Titanic, when they see that iceberg out in the distance and they sense something really bad is about to happen? Kind of like when you're chosen to do table topics. But when I
What
hear
did you
those
say,
words, "Dad, I'm bored," I sense something really bad is about to happen. Now, parents, can you feel me? Because I had flashbacks to the last time I heard those 3 frightening words. Come back with me to a dark room in Mass Speaker Hideaway. In it was our house cat, Mr. Jingles, and Bored Ben. Now, he was armed not only with a cynical grin, but glow-in-the-dark edible finger paint. Gluten-free, I might add. Fast forward 5 minutes, 15 seconds, and I hereby issue a personal challenge to each and every one of you to scrub clean a furious, hissing feline that has just been painted every color of the rainbow by a 6-year-old and to not fear the words, "Dad, I'm bored." But I digress. Let's go back to our regular scheduled program. Because just in the nick of time showed up my brother-in-law, Maniac Matt, who, for the VPEs on the call, does have his CC designation, Competent Crazy Man. Because he leaned over the side of his boat, the crappie catcher, and he said, "Who wants to do some fishing?" It was the perfect boredom buster. I was in. Ben, are you in? I'm in. Yeah, Dad, I'm in. Perfect. Maniac Matt, are you in? I'm in. Ben's in. I'm in too. What about Lenny the Skunk? Are you in? I'm in. Ben's in. Maniac Matt's in. Are you in too? Lenny the Skunk was not in. And thank goodness. So it was just myself, Maniac Matt, and Bored Ben. We all headed out to the deepest part of the lake. We got our fishing poles, and we cast those lines into the water. And we waited, and we waited, and we waited. We waited so long, I thought it was even less exciting than having to go to Toastmasters officers training. On a Thursday night, via Zoom, opposite Mass Speaker. Now, because we waited so long, we had drifted back to the middle of the lake. And I said, "Maniac Matt, you better fire up that engine." We were met with the sound of click, click, click. Yep, that battery was as dead as my professional bodybuilding career. And Gene, that one's for you. So we tried it again. And once again, we heard click, click, click. Yep, it was as lifeless as a nursing home after a buffet dinner. Oh my gosh, then I really got worried. I said, "Maniac Man, give it one more crank." Click, click, click. Yep, that diehard was as dead as Justin Bieber's musical career. Ah. What are we gonna do? It was obvious that one of us would have to jump ship and swim to shore in order to get help. But who would it be? Maniac Matt or me? It was time for a staring contest. I stared at Matt. He stared at me. Nobody blink. Finally, Ben said, "Well, Dad, it's Uncle Matt's boat. You jump." What? Sold out by my own son? My flesh and blood, the fruit of my loins. Well, looks like I'm only gonna have to split the will now 2 ways. Well, at this time, Matt had about 6 or 7 Budweisers in him, and he was taunting me about going from fisherman to fish food. As I jumped overboard and I started swimming toward shore, all I could hear in the background was him doing that Jaws theme. Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Eventually, I made it back to shore without getting eaten, grabbed a couple paddles and a kayak, and headed back to the boat. Maniac Matt and I, we then took turns rowing that crappie catcher back to shore, while Captain Ben steered us to safety. Now, by that time, the rest of the family had gathered, and they were hollering and cheering, "Come on!" as we made it back to land. And who else was there to greet us? None other than a skunk named Lenny. And I gave him a cold one. Needless to say, it definitely was not the perfect vacation, but the next time one of my kids comes to me and says, "Dad, I'm bored," I do have the perfect boredom buster response. Want to go for a boat ride? Click, click, click. Back to you.
Click, click, click. Give it up. Woo-hoo, give it up. All right, Two-Tone. Fantastic. Oh my goodness. You know, when I would slip and say I'm bored when I was a little one, my mom had a boredom buster, and that was, "Great, I've got some chores for you." No boat ride, just chores. We each find our own way to battle the boredom. Thank you, Two-Tone. Thanks for sharing that watery story with us this evening. All right, you've got your clues, you've got some ideas, you've got some guesses, and I bet you have some favorites from our 3 speakers this evening. We are ready to launch the poll so that you can vote on your favorite speaker for this evening. Who might your favorite speaker be? It's going to be tough competition, I can just tell. Do we have the poll ready? Here we are. Who is your favorite? Alien the Alien, Arabian Night and Listening Well, Two-Tone, and Boredom Buster. Place your votes now. Let's hear some tunes while they're voting if we can. Who's your favorite? Get those votes in. Good one.
Polling closes in 5, 4, 3, 2, and polling has closed.
Voting has closed, but the fun still goes on. All right. Thanks for those great dance moves, too. That was awesome. What a fun evening. Drum roll for our favorite mass speaker for this evening. It was tight competition tonight. Absolutely. Our top voter, yes, drum roll please. Our top vote getter for tonight. No yawns during his speech. Two-tone boredom buster. Top vote getter for this evening. We'll give it up. Let's hear some applause. Woohoo! Fantastic. Absolutely a very tight competition for this evening. And remember, next week, all 6 of our mass speakers will be presenting. But for tonight, we have one more piece that we want you to help participate in. And that is some guessing on who our other 2 speakers were. Now, you'll remember we had Arabian Night and the Alien. Zoom Master, yes, thank you. Would you pin those 2 for us? And I will be asking some questions to give some clues about who they might be. Now, studio audience, Toastmasters from in the district, out of the district, and out of this world, have some chatter there. Share some ideas in the chat and then put in who you think those speakers may be. All right, let's start with questions for Arabian Night and the Alien. Let's start with Alien. I'm going to ask a question, and then I will then turn to Arabian Night and ask a question of Arabian Night. So, Alien, could you tell us, have you ever been to a Toastmasters International Convention? And if so, how many?
I have been to an international convention, but I'm not really sure how many. I know of at least 3 or 4 that I have been to.
Great. All right. Thank you. I'm guessing maybe one of those was out of this world. Thank you. Arabian Night, a question for you. Tell us a little bit about the first time that you spoke publicly. About what was the size of your audience?
The first time I spoke publicly, it was in front of an audience of over 200 people.
Wow. Wow. Whew. Get those guesses rolling in the chat. Help each other out so we can figure out and unmask one of our speakers tonight. If you were, Alien, if you were making a choice between your footwear, and I know you talked about some foot issues during your speech tonight, would you choose flip-flops or high heels?
Oh, that is very easy because us aliens only have 3 toes, and our toes are bigger than our foot. So it would have to be a flip-flop that had 2 things that went between my toes.
Makes sense, of course. A 3-toed alien for our 3rd week of 3 speakers. I think we have a theme going on there. Anybody got a clue on Alien. All right, Arabian Night. Question for you. What was a clue? And you shared a little bit during your speech tonight about your energy for talking. Why did you share with us that being a Toastmaster is a natural thing?
Because I can never shut up. Wah, 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 wah.
I love it. Complete with the Charlie Brown. Good one. All right. Well, we're going to get a little bit of history about both of our mass speakers. They must be pretty tricky because I'm not seeing a lot in the chat there about your guesses. Get those guesses in. Come on, you've got some clues. Alien. Now, we know as alien, you are from out of this world, but in your unmasked persona, are you a native Hoosier?
Yes and no.
Hmm. Tell us a little bit more about that answer.
I was born here, but I grew up somewhere else, obviously on another planet, but then I moved back here.
Okay, well, welcome back. We're glad you're here. How about you, Arabian Nights? Are you a native Hoosier?
I am.
And have you had any out of this world experiences, or maybe even out of the state?
I dated Alien about a year ago.
Okay, interesting. Back to Alien. What is one thing that you would share with us about your preference of animals for pets? Are you a cat person or a dog person or a bird person or an elf person? What is it? And why?
Oh, Alf was so funny. I loved him. But my personal preference, as I told you earlier, would not be a cat or a dog. It would be termites because they're so tasty. But if it wasn't a termite, I would probably say a dog.
Okay. Do you have a dog now?
I do have a doggy now.
Okay. All right. Arabian Night. Cat, dog, alien, elf, bird, fish. What's your choice?
I don't like anything that has more legs than me or that doesn't have arms.
I love it. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I think our mass speakers are being very mysterious tonight. I'm going to ask one final question of each of them, and we are going to review your guesses. So get those guesses in. Final question for Alien. Beverage of choice. Whiskey or beer? Or is there an alien juice that you prefer?
Well, we like to drink liquid mercury because it goes down so solid. But
Oh my
beyond
goodness.
that, it might be a beer.
Well, cheers to you this evening. You certainly have been very mysterious, out of this world, and just plain awesome. All right, last question for Arabian Night. Remember, get those guesses in. This is it. Let's see, what might help reveal? Favorite movies. What is your favorite movie, Arabian Night?
Anything with special effects.
Like out of this world movies. Got
Like
some
Alien.
like Alien. Great. All right. I'm going to ask for some music and I'm going to consult with our Zoom masters and our mastermind of this entire masked speaker event, Scott Brown, and we're going to take a look at who may have been less mysterious and is going to be unmasked tonight. Let's hear some music. Woohoo! All right. It is time for a nice drum roll. Woo, the masked speaker that we are going to ask to unmask. Say that 3 times really fast. None other than Alien. Let's find out who the alien is. Show us your face.
This has been fun.
Oh my goodness, Alan! Alan Shaner, fantastic job. I don't think I would have guessed. Give us a clue on how you helped disguise your voice tonight.
It's real easy to talk with your nose pinched.
Love it, Alan. Fantastic creativity. Love it. I can hardly wait to see what you come up with for next week when all 6 of our speakers return. And I certainly hope all of our studio audience in this district, out of this district, in this world, and out of this world join us next week for another fantastic masked speaker event. It will be our grand finale. This has been a blast, and I am so thankful to you, Alan, and to all of our masked speakers. And thankful to our fantastic studio audience. We still have some mysteries out there. Keep your clues and come back next week. Next week on Thursday will be our mass speaker event, but Scott Brown, our program quality director, is going to share with you now a little bit about the entire week because it's our spring conference. Scott, take it away, please. Thanks, Alan.
Thank you, MC Gene. First, I have to give it up for the most creative speakers that we have in the entire galaxy. Give it up again for our masked speakers tonight. What a wonderful job. Also to give it up for, I think, the most creative guests we've had so far. Lou Bagnell with "It Would Be a Shame if I got this wrong, or is it a shame? Very creative, Lou. I loved the guess. Fantastic play on words. Yes, next week is our spring conference. We have an entire week of a spring conference instead of a single day because, well, let's face it, nobody really wants to sit on a Zoom call for 6 straight hours. So we split it up over 6 straight days. We start Monday with the grand opening ceremonies at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. At 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock, we have educational sessions. We repeat the process on Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday at 6:30, we have a candidate showcase for everyone running for district office, followed by the grand finale of the Mass Speaker. Friday, we have our keynote by Melissa McGavick, who is the international director, followed by our speech evaluation contest finals. And then Saturday, after we have Heritage opening it up in the morning at 10 o'clock, followed by an award ceremony at 11, the business meeting at 1, a conversation about hybrid meetings at 6. Then we have Mark Brown at 7, past international champion Brown at 7. And then at 8 o'clock, we have the international finals. We have a jam-packed full week next week. Links are out there. Check out the District 11 Facebook pages, both the public and private one. It's been shared everywhere. Check out our LinkedIn pages, all on there also. All the links are out there. And all of your club officers also got an email with every link to everything that's happening next week. Come join us. We cannot wait to see you for a week of celebration. It's time to educate, to fascinate, to elucidate, and to articulate. And with that, I send it back to you, the marvelous host, our current district director, Gene Wolfe.
Thank you, Scott. Fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for this evening. I'm going to ask one more favor of our Zoom masters. Pin yourselves, please, because we want to give it up. Tonight would not be happening and not be a success without our Zoom masters. Let's pin it and give it up for Lori and Rakia. Thank you. Great job tonight. Otherwise, I'd be stuck doing all the sound effects myself. Oh, no, that would be awful. Thank you, everyone, for a fantastic evening. See you next week. Keep the mystery and the creativity coming on in all that you do. Take care. Good night.
Speakers, you are awesome.
So much fun.
Greetings from Florida. Oh, Jeremy's here. Hey, Jeremy. And Scott and all my buddies.
Woohoo!
I love that music. Great idea, Scott. Great idea.
Hey, Dawn, great background.
You can see the kids, they're over here dancing and spinning.
As a Taylor. You've got to come as a
That's
Taylor.
fun.
Come as the Taylor.
Oh, yeah. I'm so much the Taylor. Therefore,
Hi, Deborah. Hi, Dave.
I love Scott Brown. I love Gene too, and then met her.
Crusaders, how are you?
I'll see you next week. This was great fun. Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here.
It was fun.
Thanks for the dance moves.
Whatever.
Woohoo!